It's Wulf, and today we're revisiting a game that I had previously done some videos on and previously did a first 15 on. That game is m.a.r.s. So, I'm mainly revisiting this game because SubaGames contacted me again through Keymailer, and they sent me a key. They sent me a key this time for some in-game items and stuff like that, which I'm going to show that stuff later in the video, but I also recorded a bunch of gameplay before even activating that code, so that way you guys get a proper representation of what the game is like when you just start playing. Speaking of that, so I've covered the game before, and if you've played it before and you go to play it again, it seems like they've wiped all the progress and stuff, and I think they might have done that a few different times throughout like the closed beta period, but I think that now any progress you make now is going to be permanent. I don't think they plan on doing any more wipes. And then also I just want to mention real quick, as both a kind of heads up for a cool thing that I'm going to do a video on in the future, but also like an important disclosure type of thing that some of you guys might want to know, alongside sending me the key for some in-game items and stuff, which again I'm going to mention that stuff later on in the video. SubaGames did a contest for the first time that they sent out keys for this game back when it was like closed beta and stuff, and the contest was that the top 30 influencers to cover the game, and I'm not sure how they classified top 30, if it was on like the number of videos you did or the amount of views you got or what it was. But anyway, the top 30 influencers that covered the game previously are gonna get some sort of, they called it a 3D model. It sounds like they mean like a little statue type of thing, like 3D figure. And actually, so I got another email from SubaGames through Keymailer that said that I was one of the top 30 influencers. So at some point in the future, when I get it, I'm gonna try to do an unboxing of it so you guys get to see it and everything. But just wanted to let you guys know that they're also sending me an actual item. But it's not like a payment thing, it's more like I pretty much won a contest. Anyway, as for m.a.r.s, so I've covered this game before, as I mentioned, and I also covered the sort of previous version slash prequel to it, ZMR. SubaGames describes m.a.r.s as a remaster, but also sequel to ZMR, so that's kind of where these two games relate. They're extremely similar, they play almost exactly the same, which is a good thing though, because ZMR isn't exactly available anymore. So previously when I covered this game, I did a video about how I found out that Acceso Cinco, a Latin American games provider, that they still have a version of ZMR on their service, and I made a video that was kind of like a tutorial about how to play it, and a bunch of people watched it and were very happy to be able to play it again. And then SubaGames, a couple months later, came into the comments of that video and kind of told everybody that they were re-releasing a new version of it called m.a.r.s, and that it was going to be on Steam and all that type of stuff. And then a few months later, the game actually did come out, so I covered it again. And m.a.r.s is a pretty fun game, and I mentioned that in that video. I said that all the ZMR gameplay was still there and everything, and in general, like, m.a.r.s is just a fun game. I've heard a lot of people compare it to Gears of War, and my only experience playing Gears of War was like, there was a free weekend for it on Xbox one time, so I played like Gears 5 for a little while or something, and it was pretty cool, but it is pretty similar to that style of game, so if you like that, you'd probably also like m.a.r.s, and it's just a very fun game. There's a lot of customization, a lot of over-the-top weapons and outfits. It's one of these games that it sort of has a story, but it's really like gameplay focused, and it's just a lot of fun to play. It's got a very good gameplay loop, even though it's a pretty simple one, and not really having a story allows them to really kind of like globetrot and have a lot of different levels set in all sorts of different locations and different enemies and things like that. Also, the game has a pretty hefty multiplayer component to it, and it's very easy to find other people to play with. You can usually just join random other people's matches, or if you start your own, other people usually join you, and normally people don't like kick each other or whatever, so it's kind of like a lot of people drop in and drop out of matches in this game, and that's sort of a fun aspect of it. And it's also cool to see other people's characters and stuff, because there is a lot of like wild over-the-top guns and clothing and stuff like that. And actually, even while I was recording this gameplay, at one point I had started a match just by myself, and a little while into it, somebody joined the match and actually recognized me from the ZMR and m.a.r.s videos I had made in the past, which is pretty cool. And also, it's free to play, so you can check it out without even losing any money or anything. And one of the nice things about this game is that even though there is a lot of stuff that you could spend money on, it's pretty playable without spending any money. As I mentioned, some of this gameplay is going to be before I entered in any codes or anything, so it's going to be how it would be for you guys playing. And like, the weapons you get for free at the start of the game are pretty well balanced and powerful enough to get you through a lot of the levels. And depending on the difficulty and stuff, of course this type of stuff changes, but also the respawns are pretty generous. It was like 60 respawns in most of the game modes that I played, which is pretty much plenty to get you through most of the levels, I would think. But anyway, so since this is revisiting a game, I think it's important to specifically mention stuff that I talked about originally in the first 15 of this game and talk about how they improved it and how stuff could still be worked on. So first off, graphics. So based on what I remember from playing the game in the past and also looking at some of my gameplay from the past, it seems like the graphics have been improved a pretty good amount since last time I played. I usually play games on like the lowest graphics settings anyway, and even at the lowest settings, this game definitely seemed to look better. Now you gotta remember that this game originally, as ZMR and stuff, was released quite a while ago, so the graphics are not necessarily the most ultra high resolution 4K texture type thing, but I think they are pretty good for the era that it came out in, and I think that they've been improved since the last time I played. Especially there's like some rain effects and stuff like that on some of the levels, and that seems to have been improved too. And I'm not totally sure, but I think some of the animations might also have been improved a bit. However, something that I pointed out previously about this game that still seems to need to be fixed is the resolution options. So for one, the resolution doesn't go up to 1080p, and I'm pretty sure that the original ZMR did, so I'm not really sure why m.a.r.s doesn't. And also, there's not a full screen mode, or at least not a full screen mode that works. There's a checkbox in the options for windowed mode, but regardless of if it's checked or not, it seems to always be in windowed mode. And I even tried to do like some keyboard shortcuts that make other programs full screen, and there just seems to be no way to really full screen this game. So that's sort of a smaller complaint, I guess, really. It's not really even a complaint, it's just kind of an oddity. I mean, the game is still perfectly playable in windowed mode and everything, and the graphics have seemingly been improved and really don't look that bad in general, but the higher resolution options in full screen mode would definitely be a good addition to this game. Another thing I talked about previously that I said needed improvement and has also kind of been improved in some ways is the shop. So the shop has 3 different currencies and you can only get 2 of them without paying for money. So I don't remember exactly the names of them, so I'm going to be just calling them by color. So there's the gold currency, the green currency, and the blue currency. The gold currency you get from just playing normal matches. The green currency you have to spend real money to get, and blue currency you can get from completing like other objectives that are kind of outside of the missions, like eliminate however many enemies and stuff like that. So it's kind of similar to the gold currency, but isn't exactly obtained in the same way. The main issue that I had previously with the way the system for the shop worked was that you couldn't really buy anything permanently without spending real money. But at the same point, now that time has kind of gone on and I've thought about it a little more, I kind of understand why they have it set up that way with only rentals from the gold currency, and in the blue currency too, although there's sort of exception to this a little bit with the blue currency. But anyway, like, they have to make money off the game somehow, and even though it's annoying, the fact that you can rent stuff for 30 days is a month, and that's quite a bit of time, and they also seemed to have balanced the payouts and the prices of stuff in the gold currency shop a little bit, so it's not like unreasonable prices to rent different weapons and things like that. And also, I'm mainly talking about weapons, but pretty much the same thing applies to like clothing and other items. So in some ways, I really do wish that there was some way to acquire stuff permanently, like even if it was on like a rotating basis or something like that, using just the gold currency. But the truth is, it's really not that bad because the rental periods are pretty long and they're also not overly expensive. The other thing too is that some of the really cool weapons are locked behind the green and blue currency. So the blue currency you can get without spending money, and so you can still get some of those weapons, but again, you can't really get any of them permanently. When I was looking in the store, there was one weapon you could get permanently with the blue currency, and it was a pistol, which is better than nothing, and it was a unique pistol. It was like a blue pistol, so that was pretty cool. But again, it kind of sucks that it's all rentals, and I kind of wish that they maybe made some sort of rotating thing with the gold currency shop, where maybe they would have it like every week there would be a couple of those special like really cool weapons that you could get even if it was just to rent or whatever. So I think that the shop, it's annoying that you can't buy stuff permanently. I mean, like it's like annoying to rent stuff even in real life, but I do think that they have improved it since the last time I played, and that overall it's definitely not a reason to not play the game. It doesn't feel pay to win. I don't know if I've mentioned it already. I think I have, but the weapons that the game gives you from the start are pretty much fine, and you can get through a lot of the missions with them anyway, so I don't think that this game really feels pay to win at all. Although I will add, there is a PvP mode to this game, and I'm not totally sure how weapons work with the PvP mode, so it might feel pay to win in PvP if you can bring the weapons that you spend real money on that are, going to be more powerful than the gold and blue currency weapons, but I'm not totally sure how that works. But in PvE mode, which is where I spend most of my time, it doesn't feel pay to win. So overall, I would say that definitely m.a.r.s is just a cool game. It's kind of what I've said before about it. It's a fun game. It's definitely not like a perfect game, but I think that they were not lying at all when they sent me that message alongside the key they sent me that said that they had done some improvements, because they definitely have done some improvements, and the game feels more balanced and better looking and all that type of stuff since when I played it last a couple months ago. So as for what they actually sent me with the game key, I'm gonna tell you guys about that now. So the game key they sent me included 2 special outfits and a bunch of keys for cases, which seem like they function similarly to how Counter-Strike cases work, how you get some of the cases from the matches, but then you'd have to buy a key to open them. And they also sent me a bunch of drone cases, which seem to just, you don't need like anything extra to open those, at least not so far as I've seen, and you can just open those. So the 2 outfits they sent me are special like influencer outfits, and it came with one for male body type characters and one for female body type characters. So I play as a male character because I am a guy, but the female one seems to be some sort of dress. The male one, and I think it looks pretty cool. The only complaint that I have is that it changes your character's hairstyle, and I don't know why. I don't know if that's a glitch or if they meant to do that, but I really kind of wish that it didn't do that, because I like my character to have messy hair, because I too am a mess. So it makes your character have kind of like a more like combed, organized haircut. I think it's the default haircut, which is why I'm saying I think it might be a glitch, but regardless, the outfit is pretty cool looking. As for the key things for the cases, I actually didn't have any cases from playing, so I couldn't really use those. But the cases, I looked at it and it looks like you can get a bunch of stuff out of the cases. So you can get clothes, you can get weapons, you can get drone parts, you can get stuff that's permanent or rental. But again, I'm not really sure how that whole system works, because I haven't really messed with it before and I didn't have any cases that needed to be opened anyway at that point. But I did open some of those drone case things that they sent me, and I opened about 10 of them. I didn't want to open like all 50 because that would have been a lot of items all in my inventory at once. So I opened about 10, and I mainly got some parts, but I did get one like level 2 drone in them, and I actually wasn't sure how the drones worked, even though I had seen other players using them before. But they're actually another cool part of m.a.r.s that I haven't really mentioned much before. But you can get a drone in the game, and it's, a little robot that kind of flies around and fights with you, and it can be really useful if you're playing solo or if you're doing an objective in a mission where you need to get covered by something else to fight off the enemies while you're busy and stuff. So I did, in my gameplay where I had on the fancy outfit that came with the key and everything, I had a drone that was following me around, and that was the one that I got from opening those cases. And it actually seems like you can get some of the drones using the gold non-real money currency, which is cool. And I think you can like upgrade them and improve them on your own. Again, that's another part of the game that I haven't really messed with too much. But anyway, as for my final thoughts to wrap everything up, I've always thought that m.a.r.s is a cool game. I liked ZMR and I liked m.a.r.s playing it when it came out, and I did say though previously that there were some oddities and strange stuff about it, and even though I do think that the game still has some improvement to go, I do think that the game definitely has been improved since it originally came out, especially since the closed beta, and it's definitely worth checking out if you think this gameplay looks like fun, and I think that they'll just continue to improve it. One of the things that they said in that message also that they sent me was something about that they had updates planned already for the next like 2 years, so they definitely have some plans to continue improving and adding to the game, and I'm looking forward to it. m.a.r.s is a fun game. I don't get to play it a ton because I'm just busy all the time with all sorts of stuff, but it's cool to play. And also, if any of you guys ever run into me playing m.a.r.s or ZMR, because sometimes I still play the Accesso Cinco version of ZMR, if you ever find me playing in the game, my username is Wolfie. You guys can even see it in the gameplay. If you ever see me playing, feel free to join my match and stuff. I might not be able to talk to you in the chat or whatever if I'm recording stuff or if I'm just playing, because I'm not one of these people that's really good at like typing really fast when stuff calms down for a moment, so I might not be able to talk in the chat, but I am perfectly happy to play with you guys if you run into me in the game. But anyway, yeah, m.a.r.s, it's a cool game, and they definitely have been doing improvements on it, and I think that it definitely shows that they plan on continuing to improve the game. And overall, it's just a fun game. Not a lot of people seem to know about it, but nonetheless, it still is a cool game. Enough people play it that you can play with other people and stuff, so definitely go try to check it out. It's right on Steam. Like I said, it's free to play. I think the only other thing you need to play it is a SubaGames account, and that's very easy to set up. So yeah, I'll see you guys in other videos, and thanks for watching, and bye-bye.